Okay, so this is the last video for the night, and I wanted to talk about separation from my upbringing. Now, this is probably going to be a little tough for some people in my family, but I can only be me. So, I was brought up Italian, and not just any Italian. I was brought up Roman Catholic. And when I was 8 years old, something happened inside of me, and I just kind of devoured the Bible. Like, just read it, and I would go off in the corner when nobody would pay attention, and I would just go read. And something in me was calling me to the Father, even at such a young age. And the older that I got, the more I tried pursuing the Lord. It got complicated, especially with the older generations in my family. And I guess when I turned 22, 21, 22, I was fasting a lot. I was actually pretty thin. And I just remember having a conversation with my grandmother, and she was really surprised that I was praying and fasting and reading as much as I was. So, the older that I got, especially within the last 3 to 5 years, I've really cut off, like, almost completely, entirely. Like, I don't celebrate Easter at all. I don't celebrate Christmas. As a matter of fact, I don't like either day at all. It's not for me. And it's not for my family, like my children. I don't identify with Christianity anymore. After I was from like 8 to 15, I was church hopping a lot with my family. But then 15 to 20, I was doing it on my own. And it's not for me. It's just not anymore. And it really baffles me a lot that a lot of Christian pastors who know better and who studied in seminary for so many years, I'm fairly certain that they would have studied who Asherah was. They would have studied who Ishtar was. They would have studied who Nimrod was. They would have studied who, these holidays, and they would have studied Sixtus, and they would have studied Augustine, and they would have seen the kind of paganism that was brought into the Hebraic faith, and that there's this ongoing statement that there's this three great faiths thing. I don't feel like at this point in time I'm going to talk about Muslims or Islam. That's not my calling, at least not right now in this point in time. But there should not be a Judaism and a Christianity. It's the same faith. And there's this awkwardness that happens between the two sides because there's been this ongoing, for centuries, this persecution of the Christians pursuing the Jewish people, my people. There's been this pursuing of anti-Semitism and hatred. I mean, even the Spanish Inquisition and the Crusades. I need to clear some things up. Bethlehem is not a Roman territory. It's not a Roman place. It's not even in Italy. Yes, I'm very, very well versed in understanding that Rome was occupying Israel during the time of Yeshua, during the time of JC. But just because they were occupying that land doesn't make it Rome's. It doesn't make it Italy's. It just makes it under occupation. That's it. Yerushalayim is not a Roman place. It's not a Roman territory. It was under Roman occupation, but it doesn't mean that it was a Roman location. This is going to upset a lot of people, but you guys need to wake up and go do your research and your history. Avraham, Isaac, Yaakov, they are not Roman. They're not. You need to go read. Go look it up for yourself. These people were Hebrews. Now I can tell you this. Yaakov, who's Jacob, he had a twin brother named Esau. And Esau had a tendency to go after women who are not of godly character. One of the wives that he married was a Canaanite wife. We say it in Hebrew as Canaan. And from Esau and from this Canaanite woman, you get the Holy Roman Empire from that lineage. That's where the confusion gets set in. But that's from Esau's bloodline. That's not from Yaakov's. There's a difference. Historically, you can look at it. You can see it. Yeshua was not a Roman Catholic, guys. He's still not a Roman Catholic. I know this is going to upset a lot of people. And there's a lot of people that still need to wake up and have this understanding that even in the Hispanic cultures, I'm sorry to upset you guys, but please go read it for yourself. You guys need to go look it up. I don't know if I have anything else right now, but before you get upset with me, take a moment, breathe, and pray, and go look it up. Thank you for your time. Shalom.